What's going on, guys? How is it going? It is Tyler, and today I'm bringing you another video. Now, today's video is going to be very different and never before seen on my channel before, and it's going to be slightly, in a way, a book review, but not really a book review. So, in my downtime, when I stopped doing YouTube and everything like that, of course, I dove deep into substances, like I've touched on before, and so that took up most of my time. Well, really a healthy way of doing that is kind of going back to your old passions, your childhood routines, if you're trying to break addiction, because it's like, what do you do with your mind? You used to do so many things or avoid so many things in your mind with all of these substances. When you're alone with your thoughts, how do you got to go back to those old habits. You got to go back to those old passions. And one of those passions was reading for me. And so when I was getting sober, during my time of getting sober, I went back to reading. I didn't watch things. If my TV was on, say like The Simpsons was just on in the background for background noise, or I would have a 24-hour live stream of some sort of instrumental. It was very rarely lo-fi. A lot of the times it was classical music and stuff, so on and so forth, the weird stuff. But I got back into reading, and so within that, I actually within a year I read a so many more books than I've read within a span of like 10 years. I read more books within a year than I have within 10 years. And that was just because I put it in my daily routine. And so today, again, it's not going to be a book review, but I do want to touch on the book by Jordan Peterson, and it is the 12 Rules for Life. Now, this book is so good that he actually wrote 12 more rules for life. So this is technically the first one, and the sub caption, I guess, whatever the subtitle would be, An Antidote to Chaos. So a lot of what I was already doing, going through, kind of dealing with that silence and that going back to myself, getting back into being okay with being in my own head and not using substances to numb it and quiet it down and all of that. Um, this was a very good book to touch on. Now, I'm not going to review it in a sense of actually saying like my favorite parts of it, or this was very good at writing, or this went into great detail of this. I'm just going to go through the table of contents and kind of read off the 12 rules and kind of just give a just bullet point, just boom, 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 of where it stands with it, because it was almost like every single chapter of this book was somehow in some way related to me. Now I feel like this is why it's such a good book and such a wide selling book, is because that's where it touches with so many people. Within these 12 rules, it's very good. And I mean, he studies this, just psychology, all of that. He's a doctor, he's certified, all that. Obviously he knows the subject, so he knows how to talk about it. But rule number one was stand up straight with your shoulders back. If you don't know even the significance of this, your posture is a very, very big, big key factor within the way that you think. Your spinal structure and everything, the way that everything operates within you, within a hunched back, within slouched shoulders, it does affect the healthiness of the mind, the mentality of the mind. So to already do that already present yourself with a more positive outcome. It also presents yourself as not looking weak. He goes a little more animalistic of it, and teaches more of like within the animal kingdom. If you see a wolf or something that's slouched over, they look weaker. So to do that already brings a perception of strength. And so that's also paired with, like I said, the healthiness of your spine. So you're already going to be thinking greatness because of what it represents, what it perceives you as to others and yourself to yourself. So stand up straight with your shoulders back is already that is great advice. Rule number two was treat yourself like someone you are responsible for helping. Again, like a lot of times we can hand things off to others, but when it comes to ourselves, it's very hard for us to do so. I know one thing for me is um, I can easily say like take out my friend's trash. Like if I'm over at my friend's house, I see the trash can's full. I'm not just gonna leave it full and just, oh well, it's their trash. I'm gonna bag it up and say, hey, where does this need to go? I'll get a fresh trash bag, whatever. I am more prone to help somebody else than myself. I'll let my trash boil over, but if it's somebody else's, I'll be sure to jump on that quicker. So to really take that into account of saying, no, like treat yourself like you would treat your friends. You want to be treated that way, do it for yourself. You have to do it for yourself before you can truly get the gratification of doing it for others. If you just do it for others, you're only doing it for the praise. And so it's feeding your pride and your ego if you can't do it for yourself. So that really opened my eyes to a lot of things. That's a great rule right there. So rule number 3 is make friends with people you want that want the best for you, who want the best for you. That's a no-brainer. Come on, guys. Who you surround yourself with in your circle is who you become. And so if it's always going, you're surrounding yourself with people that want the best for you and want better for you, you're always going to want the best for yourself and see the best for yourself as an opportunity. You're not going to have those clouded thoughts, because those people, even whenever you do for yourself, those people are going to push that back up and show you that you're capable and keep you going on. So what you surround yourself with is what you become. If they see you as better and better and better, you're going to become better and better and better. You better believe it. And so we have rule number 4 is compare yourself to who you were yesterday, not to who someone else is today. So if you're out there and you're looking at somebody else's car and you're seeing this and that, whatever. All right, so you want that car. You have to be in different places to get that car. Yesterday, you were not in that place to get that car. What are you doing today that you didn't do yesterday that puts you in a better opportunity of having that car by tomorrow? So that's where you have to start doing it. And once you do that, it'll be a domino effect. And day by day by day by day, will get you closer and closer and closer to that car. And you never know what'll make that move that'll skip 100 days and give you that car that day. You know, so it's pretty much saying be present with yourself. Don't be distracted by someone else's turmoil or somebody else's wealth or somebody. I mean, it's just a base. I mean, it's tied within the 10 Commandments. Come on, guys, don't covet. And then here we have rule number 5: do not let your children do anything that makes you dislike them. So you may have your child running wild, doing things that you don't agree with, right? But it's not necessarily bad, all right? So teach them a way that lets them know that it makes you unhappy so they don't keep doing it. Because if you just let it go because it's just not bad, no, you have to know why. You have to understand why. You have to figure these things out for yourself, because if you let that continue happening and you don't address it, yes, they're children, but if you don't address it, that will cause that kind of resentment within you and your child, right? Because your child doesn't understand you. You want your child to understand you, understand what makes you uncomfortable, all of those things. Rule number 6 is set your house in perfect order before you criticize the world. Before you go out and say how messed up the world is, you don't know how your house truly is. You may argue all the time, you may bicker all the time, but the world's so messed up. No, your mind, the way your mind is operating, causes the world to be messed up. It does, because I can look at a lot of things that are seen as miracles and seen as wonders, and other people look at them as destruction or so on and so forth. And I'm looking at things like, guys, do you not see the cycle happening? You know, things have to crumble to be built back up. And so it's just no-brainer. Rule number 7 is pursue what is meaningful, not what is expected. So if you expect things, why do you expect it? Well, because it could make me happy. You don't know if it's going to make you happy. But if you already know why you're doing something, there's no expectations within it. You're doing it for the meaning of it, not for the expectation of it. You're doing it because out of the kindness of your heart, not for expecting something in return. I mean, that's a basic rule of any mankind. Rule number 8 is tell the truth, or at least don't lie. Because what you're doing is, when you lie to somebody, you may think like, oh yes, I got one over, or oh yes, I avoided that confrontation. But that hurt you, not them. When you lie to somebody, and you may be like, oh, it's protecting them. No, because when they find out that you did lie, they don't trust you. You become dishonest. Your whole fabrication of the story becomes misled and misconstrued and static. So your communication now becomes disrupted with that person now, because they don't believe what you're saying anymore. You have hurt you, not them. So you have to tell the truth, or just don't lie, because it is a world of hurt for you. You have altered your reality in a false manner, and if you get caught up in it, you can't live a false lie. So it will come back. It will correct itself, and it's going to show you made an error. Don't do it again. So at least don't lie. Rule number 9 is assume that the person you are listening to might know something you don't. Regardless, it may be agitating you, it may be on a topic that you've already in your mind just set in stone. This is my belief. There could be one thing that somebody says that could disrupt everything of your belief. Now, it may not put you on their side. You can't always look at things as equally divided. So if somebody says something that just kind of, it makes sense, and it does counter your argument very well, you can't just bypass that because it's your belief. You have to, that's pretty much saying listen to somebody with an open mind, regardless of how nasally their voice is, or how critiquing they, or how just bad at speaking they are, just so on and so forth. It is such a good way of, and you will learn so much. You can learn so much from your enemy. You can learn how your enemy's planning to take you out just by listening to them. But if you're always arguing, you'll never learn the plan. So, some conversation could save your life. Rule number 9 is assume that, rule number 10, be precise in your speech. Be intentional with everything you say, which goes back to the lie thing. You have to be intentional every word that you say. I constantly tell people, have a great day, have an amazing day, have a fantastic day. These I'm precisely using these specific words and doing it in a manner and making direct eye contact with a smile for a precise outcome, whether it's for me or for them. It's not for me to decide. The meaning and the intention of telling someone have a wonderful day is not, it's precise. I didn't say have a wonderful day because I just think it sounds good. It's very precise and very intentional. Rule number 11, do not bother children while they are skateboarding. And that's a thing that, it's a metaphor. So a kid could be learning how to skate and they could be doing it the wrong way, but they're figuring it out. Once they figure it out, it's whatever. But you distract that kid for a moment and they look up and then they trip and they fall and they get hurt. Now, they didn't fall on their own. They don't have the confidence to get back up. You interfered and caused them to make an error, which then causes that confidence to pretty much just dissolve, just disrupt and dissipate. Disappears. Because you interfered with the building of their own confidence. And so now you're technically the only one that can build that confidence back up, but you don't know how because you don't even know it was broken. You just know they're hurt and they're crying now. Guarantee you if they were alone and nobody saw, chances are they would have got back up and just be like, oh, that hurt. But since you interfered, it is a completely different story. So it's saying they may be doing it the wrong way, but let them get hurt on their own. And then you can teach them. But if you try to interfere and do it your own way, show them they may lose interest in it because it just doesn't feel right. Maybe they're supposed to ride goofy. They used the wrong foot. Just let them ride it. Let them figure it out. And so that's what that's meaning. And then we have rule number 12, pet a cat when you encounter one on the street. And again, that's another kind of metaphor, but in a way of the sense of you want to be that type of person. You see a person walking by and you see a cute little kitten and then you see that person just stick their nose up in the air and they walk by it. You're like, oh, I would have pet that cat. You may not be a cat person, but if you see a cat on the street, pet it. Because now you're showing everyone around you that you are an able companion, that you will stop and take a moment just to acknowledge a companion, right? So you're doing it in your everyday life. You're not just doing it to human beings or someone who can benefit you. You're taking that time and truly taking that step out and showing everyone around on that sidewalk, on the side of the street, that you are a capable companion and capable of taking that time. That person walking past, be like, well, if he could take time for a stray cat, then if I really needed to talk to this guy, if I really needed to stop him, I really needed his help, I trust that he would take the time for me. So you're showing that humility to the open, and you're integrating it in your everyday life. Every time you see a cat, pet it. Even if you're not a cat person. Even if you're allergic. That's even a more heroic story of like, I'm allergic, but I'm still going to pet this stray cat. It's so cute. Right? So this was such a great book, especially, like I said, in my downtime when I was sobering up. I was avoiding substances and just not knowing where to go, what to turn to. Again, I turned to the pages. And this was one of the books that I read. Again, it's 12 Rules for Life by Jordan Peterson. You can find it anywhere. It's like I said, it's multi-million copy selling. But every single one of those points, every single one of those chapters, I flipped to, and when I read it, like I said, he goes deep within the conversation. He uses many metaphors. He brings things back around and really shows you the meat and the ingredients to every one of these statements, every one of these topics. And I recommend this book for anyone that's kind of just maybe just wanting to get back into reading. Again, you could go chapter by chapter. They're not super long. They're not super in depth. And so you can go chapter by chapter and just kind of just get a little bit of, it's like a daily devotional if you wanted to read it daily. Just read a chapter a day. That's something to do, but it's a fantastic read. I do recommend it. And but yeah, hope you guys enjoyed. I don't even know what this video is, but it's, again, I'm getting back on the routine. I think I was wearing this in the previous video, but don't worry about that. It's a different shirt underneath, just same hoodie. Different day, don't matter. It'll get washed tomorrow, so we'll be all right. But I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you guys in the next one. Thank you guys for staying tuned to the end. If you have stayed to the end of this, go ahead and put Order in Chaos. The subtitle was The Antidote to Chaos. So that was the very first video on iOS Planet, was an Order in Chaos video. Go ahead and drop that in the comments. Anyway, guys, this is Tyler. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.